The power's been out for 36 hours. Your street is silent, too silent. Then you hear it, glass shattering, 3 houses down. Not from the stranger, from the guy who helped you jumpstart your car last month. He's got a crowbar and he's working his way up the block. Welcome to hour 36 of a blackout, where your biggest threat isn't the darkness, it's the 300 million people who didn't prepare, and they know exactly where you live. Here's what nobody tells you. When the grid dies, society has a 72-hour expiration date. FEMA admits most cities have 3 days of food. The Department of Justice says violent crime spikes 250% after 72 hours without power. And history? History says the polite veneer of civilization is thinner than a grocery store window. So let's talk about the top places that will be gutted first. Not days in, hours. And if you're near one when it happens, you're not shopping. You're in a war zone. First domino to fall, pharmacies. You think people panic over bread, they riot over insulin. 66% of Americans are on daily prescriptions. When the power dies, the cold chain for those meds breaks, refills stop, and suddenly millions are 3 days from withdrawal, seizures, or death. These places are survival bunkers. Alcohol, antibiotics, painkillers. People will kill for. During Katrina, they were emptied with military precision. Pain relief becomes currency. A bottle of ibuprofen buys a week of food. And when the pharmacies burn, the mob doesn't go home. They start knocking on doors. Number 7, hardware stores. The survival gold mine. Most people rush to grocery stores. Smart survivors hit hardware stores first. Why? Because when society collapses, you don't just need food, you need tools. Hardware and hand tools that don't need electricity. During Katrina and the 2011 UK riots, hardware stores were stripped clean. Not for weapons, but for plywood and nails to board up windows. But here's what makes them deadly. Everyone realizes their value eventually. By hour 48, desperate people flood in. Not just preppers, looters looking for bolt cutters, opportunists grabbing generators. The real kicker? Most hardware stores have poor security. Big glass windows, minimal staff. Once the first window breaks, it's a feeding frenzy. If you don't have your tools before the blackout, it's too late. The hardware store becomes a battleground where desperation meets raw utility. Day 2, your tank's on empty. So is everyone else's. Gas stations erupt before grocery stores. Why? Fuel pumps need electricity. No power, no pump. Even if the underground tanks are full, it's useless. And the backup generators, stolen first. Gas isn't just for cars. It's for generators, chainsaws, heating. A 5-gallon jug could buy you protection or safe passage. You'll see lines stretching for blocks, armed confrontations, sabotage. Gas stations won't fuel hope. They'll fuel chaos. Finally, where civility dies, big box stores, Walmart, Costco, Target. Within 12 hours of a blackout, they become meat grinders. They hold everything, the last bastion of the supply chain. Once they're empty, that chain is broken forever. We've seen stores ransacked in under an hour. In a total blackout, that shrinks to 15 minutes. Thousands of people, no security, no law, just panic and rage. People trample each other. Organized looters show up. If you're thinking of just grabbing a few things, don't. You'll get robbed, stabbed, or followed home. These places aren't safe havens. They're kill zones. The real preparation doesn't happen in the dark with a crowbar in your hand. It happens now, before the lights go out. Because when they do, the only thing you can count on is that everyone who didn't prepare knows exactly where you live. Let's continue with number 4, liquor stores, the Wild West. When the lights go out, alcohol becomes everything. It's medicine, it's currency, it's fuel. It is morale in a bottle. Think about this. 15 million Americans are alcohol dependent. After just 24 hours without it, severe withdrawal ticks in. We're talking nausea, hallucinations, seizures. That raw desperation leads straight to the liquor stores. They won't be the only ones. Picture it. Crowds elbowing through shattered glass for anything. Whiskey, vodka, even mouthwash. Booze becomes barter gold. A fifth of vodka could get you a course of antibiotics. A bottle of rum might buy you firewood or a box of ammo. High-proof spirits can clean a wound, disinfect your gear, or start a fire. During the Great Depression, disinfect your gear or start a fire. During the Great Depression, moonshine was survival currency. When Venezuela collapsed, smuggled liquor was the primary way to trade, so stock quietly. Clear spirits are best. Vodka, Everclear, high-proof rum. Keep the bottles sealed and keep them hidden. Never brag, because once those stores are empty, the mob will start looking for the person who still has a bottle, and they'll bring a crowbar. Number 3, pet stores, the forgotten vault. Most people will walk right past the pet store until they're starving. Then that bag of kibble isn't for Fluffy anymore, it's just food. Now, it's not ideal, but pet food is edible. It's protein, it's calories, and it's shelf-stable. After 4 days without eating, a can of lamb and rice starts to look like Thanksgiving dinner. But that's not the real prize. The real gold is the survival gear disguised as pet supplies. Heavy-duty leashes become tie-downs. Puppy pads are for sanitation. Kitty litter absorbs waste. A 50-pound bag of kibble, a family of 3 could live off that for weeks. It's happened before. During the Yugoslav wars, civilians ate animal feed and dog biscuits when the food supply chains collapsed. Pet stores also have water filters, animal antibiotics, which are often identical to human versions, wound sprays, and even emergency thermal blankets. While the average looter is fighting over canned soup in a grocery store, the smart ones are quietly raiding the pet store. They'll walk out with enough to last a month. By week 2, your neighbors will be circling that pet aisle with dead eyes. Number 2, schools, the sleeping giant. Schools are absolute gold mines when the power goes out. The average elementary school in the U.S. has enough food to feed 500 kids for a week. We're talking rice, canned fruit, vegetables, grains. The cafeteria walk-in freezers hold tons of calories. But the food is just the beginning. Think about the classrooms, batteries, office supplies, water purification tablets, the science labs, alcohol, chemicals, gloves. The gym has mats and equipment. The nurse's office is stocked with bandages, antiseptics, and painkillers. During the Fukushima disaster, Japanese citizens broke into schools to survive. They found food, blankets, and emergency kits, and they lived. But once the word gets out that schools are full of supplies, they become battlegrounds. Desperate parents, organized gangs, lone drifters, all converging on one place. You need to scout them out before a collapse. Learn the entrances, map the supply closets, because when society folds, that elementary school becomes a fortress of desperation. And now, number 1, hospitals, where hope turns to horror. In the first 48 hours of a total blackout, hospitals will transform from sanctuaries into slaughterhouses. That sounds harsh, but it's history. Most U.S. hospitals have backup generators that last about 72 hours. When they fail, everything collapses. Ventilators shut off. Elevators freeze mid-floor. Life-saving machines go dark. Now add hundreds of scared, injured, and dying people to that equation. You have a human powder keg. But that's not why hospitals are number 1 on this list. It's what they store. Painkillers, sedatives, antibiotics, surgical tools, IV fluids, insulin, oxygen tanks, morphine. In a post-collapse economy, these are the new currency. A single bottle of penicillin could buy a week's worth of food. An adrenaline injector might be tradable for gold. A single bottle of penicillin could buy a week's worth of food. An adrenaline injector might be tradable for gold. During Venezuela's collapse, hospitals were looted over and over by gangs, by desperate patients, even by their own former staff. The sick, the addicted, the opportunists, they will come in waves, not to help, to take. ICU wards will be gutted, storage rooms raided, the security guards will be long gone. If you have ever thought about raiding a hospital after the lights go out, don't. It is suicide. Build your own trauma kit now. Learn field medicine. Get certified in basic first aid. Because when the hospitals collapse, they won't be a place of healing. They will be the front line of the apocalypse. The blackout doesn't care if you're ready, but your neighbors do, and they're counting on you not being. Stock up now. Stay quiet. Stay dark. Because survival isn't about outlasting the blackout.
It's about most people think collapse is loud. Sirens, explosions, chaos. They're wrong. Real collapse is quiet. It starts with small things you don't notice at first. The store opens late. Delivery doesn't arrive. The power flickers, then comes back. People joke about it. They say it's temporary. It always is, at the beginning. Then one morning, the ATM says out of service. The card reader at the gas station blinks red. Your phone still has signal, but nothing loads. That's the moment the rules change. Not officially, not on the news, but in people's heads. You'll see it in their eyes first. Polite smiles disappear. Personal space shrinks.
Look at the
Every
data.
conversation
The risk factor
becomes
just
a
doubled.
calculation.
We can't move forward with
Who has food? Who has fuel? Who looks weak? The first week is denial. People wait for help. They trust the system to reboot itself. The second week is panic buying. Shelves empty in hours, not because of shortages, but because fear spreads faster than facts. The third week is when things turn ugly. That's when neighbors start noticing your lights, your cooking smells, the sound of a generator at night. That's when preparation becomes a liability. In every collapse in history, the most dangerous time is not the beginning and not the end. It's the middle, when people are hungry but still strong enough to take. That's when morality bends. Good people will do bad things to protect their children. Quiet people will become violent. Rules will feel optional, and the law will be a memory. You won't hear gunfire everywhere. You'll hear whispers, rumors, footsteps at night, someone asking questions they shouldn't know to ask. That's why survival isn't about weapons, it's about discipline. Light discipline, noise discipline, information discipline. You don't tell people what you have. You don't trade in public. You don't correct anyone's assumptions. If they think you're struggling, let them. The ones who survive longest are never the strongest. They're the least interesting. They don't stand out. They don't lead crowds. They don't play hero. They endure. They eat smaller meals. They move less. They listen more. They understand that calories are time, and time is life. Water becomes more valuable than money. Medicine more valuable than loyalty. A working lighter can be worth more than a phone. A charged radio more powerful than social media ever was. And silence becomes safety. At night, the world changes. Darkness gives people courage they don't have in daylight. That's when doors get tested. That's when shadows stop being empty. If you hear someone crying for help, you'll hesitate. Not because you're cruel, but because you know traps exist. That hesitation will haunt you. But hesitation is how you stay alive. Collapse forces impossible choices. There are no clean hands at the end of it, only survivors. And when order finally returns, weeks, months, maybe years later, people will act like it was a bad dream. They'll rebuild stores, repaint walls, rewrite history. But you will remember. You'll remember who changed overnight, who watched, who waited, and who knocked when they were desperate. Preparedness isn't paranoia, it's respect for reality. Because systems are fragile, comfort is temporary, and help is never guaranteed. So prepare now, quietly. Learn skills that don't need electricity. Store things that don't expire. Practice living with less before you're forced to. Because when the blackout comes, it won't ask if you're ready. And when it ends, only those who stayed invisible will still be standing. Survival doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to the patient, the disciplined, the quiet. And by the time everyone else understands that, it's already too late.